Tonight on Q2, over the edge and hanging on by a thread.
It's a highway that has steep grades, it has sharp curves.
A semi in Wyoming topples over the guardrails, coming eerily close to the bottom of a cliff. Plus wind, hail, and heavy rains causing significant damage around Billings. We're not in the clear yet, and we'll have the latest on severe storms. The MTN 430 News starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. Tonight, a Wyoming highway shut down after a heart-stopping crash. A semi-truck left dangling over a steep cliff just inches from disaster along a 30-mile stretch between Lovell and the Bighorn County line. Miraculously, the driver walked away with only minor injuries, but the recovery operation is anything but simple. Our Haley Monaco shows us how it all unfolded.
You can get yourself in trouble pretty quick.
One truck driver got into a terrifying situation early Tuesday morning, hanging on by a tire.
It's a sketchy road.
The single vehicle crash happened on U.S. Highway 14A, about 25 miles east of Lovell, Wyoming.
We hope we can pull it up without it falling deep in the canyon. And there will be some extremely qualified personnel on site today with big machinery to pull that truck up, hopefully over the top of that retaining wall.
Not many details have been released, but what we do know is the driver only had minor injuries.
It looks to be somewhat of a miracle that the driver is okay.
Those who drive the winding highway on 14A know how tricky the road can be.
I spend time up there every year personally. And but I also get some white knuckles when I'm driving up and down that mountain sometimes.
I'm a truck driver too, and that would just scare the heck out of me bringing a truck down that stretch of road.
Just last week, an RV burst into flames while driving on this highway.
The back end of the motorhome just melted right on the side of the road from the intensity of that fire, all caused by people putting their foot on the brakes too much.
A curving, steep road, one that needs to be driven with caution.
It's spectacular, but yet can lead to some problems.
Reporting out of Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
An immigrant man faces federal charges tonight after investigators uncovered chilling plans during a homicide case. Court documents say 23-year-old Caden Lewis planned a mass killing at Chico Hot Springs. The investigation began in 2022 when Lewis was charged in the death of his mother's former boyfriend, Casey Anderson. A case later dismissed for lack of evidence. Investigators found walls covered in racist language and journals praising school shooters and detailed plans to attack the local hot springs and schools. Molotov cocktails were also found in his home. Lewis is now charged with possessing explosives and more. A federal trial is set in Billings for later. The mayor of Cody, Wyoming, spent the weekend in a Park County detention center after being arrested early Saturday on suspicion of DUI. The Cowboy State Daily says 65-year-old Leanne Ryder was stopped on Sheridan Avenue by a Park County deputy. Field sobriety tests were performed and her blood alcohol content measured above the legal limit. Ryder pled not guilty and was released Monday. Her case is set for December 11th for a jury trial. Severe storms are back at it today, battering the area with hail, lightning, and wind. These are the scenes from yesterday near Shawmut, where 2 inches of hail shattered windshields, dented cars, and brought down trees. One viewer told us it was like bullets pelting his car. Billings also got quite the lightning show, and we're not in the clear yet. Similar stores are already firing up. For the latest on what's ahead, here's Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh.
Well, as my guidance counselors used to tell me, you see a lot of potential, but so far we don't see that much going on. And that's the way things are setting up for tonight. In the yellow shaded areas especially, and that's from Billings off into the eastern plains, the potential for gusty winds, hail, especially in southeastern Montana. And some of those wind gusts could top 60 miles an hour around some of these thunderstorms. We also have quite a bit of available moisture, so the potential for heavy rain again exists throughout the area for this afternoon and heading into the this evening. We'll zoom down, take a look at Doppler radar. Showers and thunderstorms starting to develop again, as we've seen so often over the course of the last few days on either side of Billings. A few clouds, showers and thunderstorms continue to hang in there. This deep trough here off the coast in the Pacific and Northern California is pushing up plenty of moisture and instability into the atmosphere. We'll tell you what that means and break down the rest of the forecast details for you in just a few minutes.
Tonight, a smartwatch helped lead searchers to a deadly plane crash near West Yellowstone. 3 people were killed after their plane took off late Thursday night from the West Yellowstone Airport and disappeared. Crews began searching Friday when the plane wasn't found and used GPS from a passenger's smartwatch to find that wreckage in dense timber just south of town. The victims are Rodney and Madison Conover of Tennessee and Kurt Roby of Utah. The FAA and the NTSB are investigating what caused the crash. President Trump announces a trade deal with the Philippines while his administration continues to be dodged by questions about handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Erica Brown has the latest from the White House, where the president took questions in the Oval Office today and ratcheted up his rhetoric against former President Barack Obama.
We're very close to finishing a trade deal.
Shortly after hosting the president of the Philippines in the Oval Office Tuesday, President Trump announced on social media a new trade deal, including a 19% tariff on goods from that country.
Whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people.
But Trump didn't talk trade for long, pivoting to attack former President Barack Obama, blaming him directly for what he has called for years the Russia hoax.
He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election.
During Trump's first term, a special counsel investigated potential government wrongdoing, finding no evidence intelligence had been falsified in a systematic way, influenced by political concerns or directed by the former president. President Trump brought up former President Obama moments after being asked a question related to the controversy surrounding the investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
The president said it was appropriate that his Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche reached out to the lawyer for Epstein associate and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell and plans to speak to her in the coming days.
We want maximum transparency. We also understand the other part of that duty is that we have to protect innocent victims.
On Capitol Hill, House Speaker Mike Johnson said the House won't vote on a resolution calling on the Trump administration to release more of the Epstein files before the August recess. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump's tariffs could make home ownership even less affordable for many Americans. A new report from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce warns tariffs on Canadian imports could add $14,000 to the average cost of building a home. Canadian supplies 70% of lumber imports, along with significant amounts of steel and copper. Well, the White House disputes the findings, saying exporters will bear the cost, not Americans. The Trump administration looks to end deportation protections for Afghan nationals, and a federal court says it can. The program was designed as a short-term solution, and now thousands could be impacted. Joe St. George breaks down what the ruling could mean for the next time it comes around.
Another victory in the courts for President Donald Trump, this time involving Afghan citizens who fled that country over fear of their life. The Fourth Circuit ruling the Trump administration can end a protected status program. We're talking about a program known as Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, and it's typically been extended in limited numbers to citizens in countries deemed dangerous and unsafe. With the Taliban taking over Afghanistan in 2021, former President Joe Biden in 2022 first extended the program to those who felt their lives could be in danger. It's estimated that over 11,000 people from Afghanistan are enrolled in the program in the United States, which allows for protection from deportation as well as work permits. In May, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said this about ending TPS for those from Afghanistan. Quote, Afghanistan has had an improved security situation, and its stabilizing economy no longer prevent them from returning to their home country. In a separate press release involving reforming TPS programs, Noem said earlier in July, quote, temporary protected status was designed to be just that, temporary. The court ruling comes as the State Department still advises American citizens to not travel to Afghanistan because of the threat of terrorism, kidnapping, crime, and more. Immigrant rights groups remain furious at this latest court order, with the Global Refuge releasing this statement. Conditions remain dire, especially for allies who supported the U.S. mission, as well as women, girls, religious minorities, and ethnic groups targeted by the Taliban. The anxiety among our Afghan clients is real and growing. They want to contribute, work, and live in peace, but now face legal limbo and fear of deportation. The latest court order also allows President Trump to end a protected status program involving citizens from Cameroon. The president has worked to end various TPS programs involving various countries over the last 6 months. Joe St. George, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Coca-Cola is releasing a version of its signature drink sweetened with American sugar. The announcement follows President Trump's recent social post that Coke will use real cane sugar from the U.S. since the 1980s. Coke sweetened its drink with high fructose corn syrup in addition to using sugar from Mexico. Mexico Coke has been gaining popularity, frequently stocked by Target and Costco.